James Clear, Atomic Habits. Here are a few key insights from Atomic Habits. 1. Habit stacking. Pairing a new habit with an existing one makes it easier to stick to. For instance, after brushing your teeth, existing habit, you could do 2 minutes of meditation. In Atomic Habits, James Clear illustrates habit stacking as a strategy to build new habits by integrating them into existing routines. He emphasizes the importance of using current behaviors as triggers for new ones. The process involves creating a sequence where the completion of one habitual action naturally leads to the next. Clear suggests breaking down habit stacking into 4 components. Current habit, cue. Identify an existing habit that you already do consistently. This habit serves as the cue or trigger for the new behavior. New habit. Choose the habit you want to incorporate and decide where it fits into your existing routine. Stacking the habits. Pair the new habit immediately after the current habit. For instance, after finishing breakfast, you might choose to exercise for 10 minutes. Repetition. Consistently repeating this sequence helps solidify the connection between the two habits, making the new behavior easier to adopt over time. The key is to link the new habit directly to an existing one, creating a seamless transition from one behavior to the next. This stacking method leverages the power of routine and makes it easier to incorporate new habits into your daily life. 2. The 1% rule. Improving by just 1% each day can lead to significant long-term changes. Small, consistent improvements compound over time. The number 1 rule in Atomic Habits is often referred to as the 1% rule. This rule emphasizes the power of making small, consistent improvements over time. The concept is simple. Aim to get just 1% better each day. Here's a breakdown of the 1% rule, incremental progress. Instead of aiming for drastic changes or overnight transformations, focus on making tiny improvements each day. These small improvements may seem insignificant on their own, but over time, they accumulate and compound, leading to significant progress. Continuous growth. The idea is to consistently build upon your previous efforts. For instance, if you're trying to get in shape, focusing on doing slightly more exercise or making a small dietary improvement each day adds up over weeks, months, and years. Compound effect. Similar to how compound interest grows your savings exponentially, the 1% improvements compound to create substantial changes in your habits, skills, and life. The 1% rule encourages a mindset shift toward continuous improvement and long-term growth by acknowledging the power of small, consistent actions. It underscores the impact of patience and persistence in achieving remarkable results over time. 3. Cues, cravings, responses, and rewards. Clear explains how habits are formed through a cycle of cues, triggering cravings, leading to specific responses, and ultimately resulting in rewards. Understanding and manipulating this cycle can help in habit formation. James Clear introduces the concept of cues, cravings, responses, and rewards as the components of the habit loop. Understanding and manipulating these elements can help in forming new habits or breaking old ones. Cue. This is the trigger or signal that initiates a habit. Cues can be external, like a specific time of day, a location or an object, or internal, such as an emotion or a feeling. Craving. Once a cue is recognized, it leads to a craving, which is the desire or urge for a certain outcome or feeling associated with the habit. Cravings are the motivational force driving the habit loop. Response. The response is the actual behavior or action prompted by the craving. It's the habit itself that you perform in response to the cue and the craving. Reward. The reward is what satisfies the craving and reinforces the habit loop. It provides a sense of pleasure or relief that makes the behavior worth repeating. Rewards solidify the habit loop by associating the behavior with a positive outcome. Understanding these components helps in analyzing existing habits and designing new ones. By identifying cues, cravings, responses, and rewards within a habit loop, individuals can deliberately modify or create habits to better align with their desired outcomes. 4. Environment. Design. Modifying your environment can make good habits easier to adopt and bad habits harder to follow. For example, placing a bowl of fruit on the counter encourages healthy snacking. James Clear emphasizes the significant impact of environment on our habits. Environment design refers to deliberately shaping your surroundings to make desired behaviors easier to perform and undesirable behaviors harder to engage in. By manipulating your environment, you can effectively support the habits you want to cultivate. Here's how environment design works. Make good habits. Obvious. Arrange your environment in a way that makes it clear and visible what you want to do. For instance, if you want to read more, place books in visible locations or create a dedicated reading area. Make good habits attractive. Associate positive emotions with the habits you want to adopt. For example, keep healthy snacks readily available and easily accessible, making them more appealing than unhealthy options. Make good habits easy. Reduce friction and barriers for positive behaviors. If you aim to exercise regularly, lay out your workout clothes the night before to make it easier to start exercising in the morning. Make bad habits difficult. Conversely, make it harder to engage in unwanted behaviors. For instance, if you want to reduce screen time before bed, charge your phone in another room to avoid the temptation of late-night scrolling. By strategically shaping your environment, you create an ecosystem that supports your desired habits and discourages detrimental ones. This approach leverages the principle that our surroundings heavily influence our behaviors and decision-making processes. 5. Identity-based habits. Linking habits to your identity can be a powerful way to maintain them. For instance, rather than saying, "I'm trying to quit smoking," adopt the identity of a non-smoker. In Atomic Habits, James Clear introduces the concept of identity-based habits, which focuses on aligning your habits with your desired identity. This approach revolves around the belief that behavior change is most effective when it's integrated with your self-perception and identity. Here's how identity-based habits work. Identity over goals. Instead of solely setting goals or outcomes, focus on who you wish to become. Rather than saying, "I want to lose weight," adopt the identity of someone who values health and fitness. Identity reinforcement. When you view habits through the lens of your identity, the actions you take reinforce that identity. For instance, if you see yourself as a writer, the act of writing daily reinforces this identity. Consistency with identity. Behaviors become more automatic when they align with your perceived identity. For example, if you identify as someone who cares about the environment, actions like recycling or reducing waste become natural extensions of your identity. Shift in mindset. By linking habits to your identity, it becomes less about what you should do and more about who you are. This shift in mindset can lead to more sustained and lasting behavior change. The idea behind identity-based habits is that once a behavior is part of your identity, it's less about willpower or motivation and more about simply being true to yourself. By aligning your habits with the person you want to become, you're more likely to maintain those habits in the long run. These concepts provide a framework for building and maintaining positive habits while minimizing negative ones.